I have here my wife, Apple, and she's going to accompany me in this YouTube video. We're going to be featuring the Dymax IQ7, which is an acrylic nano tank with its own filter. And I'm going to show you a little bit later that there's a built-in filter with a bio balls and sponges inside, as well as a little pump in there that would be able to pump the water going back to the main tank. It also comes with a clip-on light and the adapter of the light. I think you could install a DC timer here. And by the way, we're going to be scaping this tank. So we have buckets here that we are going to be using for the scape of this tank. I'm considering if we're going to be doing a dry start or not. Maybe not, because I'm gonna need to cycle the tank, and I do have a surplus of guppies and plants that I need to put somewhere already. I don't have CO2 yet on this tank though, so I'm going to be choosing hardy plants that can withstand a no CO2 setup. We are going to be using this as the main piece, big piece of Cerio stone. I think it's part of limestone. It has been quarried from limestone, and we're gonna be using 2 pieces as the main pieces for this scape. And then we just have some flat stones, regular flat stones. Make sure to brush all of them before we put it in the scape so that it won't make the water extra hard after we actually fill it up. And for the substrate, we're using Aquaforest freshwater AF natural substrate. So let's do it. So I promised my wife that this will be the most beautiful scape I will make so far, but this is only my 5th scape. But I've learned a lot also during my last scapes on the wrong things that I have done and what I can do better this time around. So what we want is a little bit of depth, so higher towards the back, but we need the substrate in front as well. So one thing that I made a mistake with my sister Trisha's last scape is we put too few substrate, and the depth was good, but there was not much room for the plants to grow roots in front, and we couldn't really put in the Cuba roots down in front. We're just gonna be hoping that it just carpets all the way to the front, but definitely learn from that. We are gonna be putting much more substrate here and soil as well. So next up, we need the Amazon soil. We are now putting the Amazon soil. I really don't know what brand this is. I bought it quite with a lack of description, so I really don't know what the brand is, but it is clay, Amazon clay soil. So the reddish soil is where the plants will root in. That's the rich substrate, and it is where it's going to be getting some nutrients from. Now, since we're just starting this, I'm thinking so I didn't put root tabs in, although I could have, but that's because it might be a while before we plant actual stem plants here. Again, because of no CO2 for now. We are going to look at it this way. We have to play with the real thing. So, ibabaon ko tong dalawa para ito lang yung kita. The thing is, we can plant... Yeah, the substrate looks good na eh. Yeah. Substrate looks good. It is quite healthy already. So, I'm just going to cover the red sand. Well, it's all gonna be green anyway. We just need to make sure that the soil is healthy for the ecosystem. I don't plan to put a lot of fish here, maybe just 2 or 3. We're done with the hardscape, and we want it, as simple, because I explained to Apple that these flat stones would not look good when the light is hitting it directly. I don't know how bright this one is, but it might be pretty bright, so we're just not gonna take that risk, and we're gonna make sure that when lighted up it looks nice. So we're back with the Cuba. which we have cleaned up. We grew it from seeds, the backyard. Here it is. So what we're going to be doing is to split it in parts, making sure that the roots are the ones that we're going to be planting. We're going to be planting it one by one. I'm just going to be putting it like so. Just putting it here on the scape. This is water, just to wet the substrate so we can plant better. Easier to plant when the substrate is wet. Otherwise, you're gonna get soil going along with your tongs, as what has been happening since earlier. Again, guys, this is just the fifth time that I'm doing a scape, so please be forgiving if the result is not that good. We'll try a weekly update for this video as to how it has been growing. By the way, guys, if you're wondering, the Dymax IQ7 I think is a 5-point-something gallon tank, so it is a little bit bigger than the 2.5 nano tank that we did last time. We can definitely put in more bio load for this one. There we go. So we put in all of the cuba. We hope it will carpet enough. Planted quite densely, as dense as I could, I think. And now we will be putting the path, which is made of La Plata sand. So this is it, ADA La Plata sand. We are going to use this to make a path. So for this one, we just usually get a handful. Actually, guys, I'm not really a creative person, and for these type of things, aquascaping, I just watched a lot of YouTube videos as well. I love Green Aqua. I love Balaz, how he does it, and Yuris also. They're all from Europe. I was hoping we'd have some from the Philippines, but I couldn't find any. So I'm just trying to start one, and hopefully you guys... But we do have a lot of Filipinos who are really fantastic aquascapers. It's just that they don't have a channel. And I hope this actually helps inspire them to start one. So, very nice path. Just want to put in some more here. When the cubas grow, you will see it will make a nice carpet. The path is going to be accentuated, especially with the LED light. It is going to be hard to maintain if you have a lot of fish here, but really don't plan to put in a lot of fish. So, again, we're not experts as far as we have gone. I think it's pretty good. And then, we're gonna use the pebbles for. We have the pebbles right here. Nice pebbles, especially with the light. We're gonna be using it to make sure the cuba does not grow over the sand. So it's gonna be like path guards, but it's not really gonna stop the cuba because they are carpeting plants. But it just gives it a more natural feel. Very nice. I like how it's coming about. It really is quite nice. Especially the water flow is gonna be this way because, as you can see here, I'm just gonna turn this around. There is the spout right there, and the water is going to be shooting that way with the submerged water pump. And so we will have the flow going there, water, the path is that way, hopefully making it a more natural feel. I do plan to put stem plants at the back. I'm thinking of Pogostemon erectus, but I don't have the stock yet in my aquarium. Hopefully it's going to arrive soon, but let's see. We forgot to do one thing. We're gonna be putting the Christmas moss and just shove them in some of the crevices in the rocks rather than glue them. I gave a lot of moss away to my sister Trisha in the last video, and I'm still propagating more moss. It's not that hard to propagate them, thankfully. So we were able to put in the moss, and as you can see, it does accentuate the rocks a lot. And I know in the last video you might have heard my sister saying that she loves moss, and who wouldn't after what it does to the scape, especially the hardscape. Some of those we did not put glue on, a lot of them we did, because the crevices were not enough, unfortunately, to stick them on. But we are hoping that they would bloom and grow, and maybe I could trim some of them as well someday when it propagates. So this is Christmas moss, which is pretty much the only moss I have. If you have Java moss you'd like to send some over to me, I'd be very grateful for that one. Also, I'm looking for coral moss as well. Haven't had luck in finding any so far, but I'd like to try that out as well. So this is the scape so far. I am going to be doing a B-roll for it when finally we fill it up with water. I hope you learned something from this one, guys, or I hope you got inspired by our scape. The name of this scape is La La Land. Alright guys, I hope you like it, and I'll see you again on the next video.